Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Karlie and this is a mostly knitting podcast where I share with you everything that I'm working on and any future plans that I have. Sometimes I do talk about other things like sewing or my natural yarn dyeing, but today we have an all knitting episode. I have a lot of things to share with you all. I've been quite busy knitting wise the last couple of weeks, so let's get started. Okay, so the last few weeks my focus has really been on trying to finish a lot of my WIPS. So I think I had about 10 WIPS on the go, and that was just a bit too much for my liking. So I really just picked one project, focused on it, got it done, and then picked up another one and just kept on with that momentum. So we've got quite a few finished objects to share with you today, and we'll start with what I'm wearing. And this is the Florencia Tea by Claudia Quintanilla from Eweknit Toronto. This was a cowl that started last fall, and I cast it on and went to about here during the cowl until test knits and gift knitting got in the way, and I just didn't pick it back up. So it has been driving me nuts that I just knew it was sitting there in this beautiful color and this beautiful yarn, and I really wanted the finished object, so I finally picked it up. Now this yarn was gifted to me from Eweknit Toronto, and this is the dark ochre in the cotton merino from Knitting for Olive. It's a beautiful lightweight summer yarn, and this top is actually knit bottom up, and this was my first bottom up raglan, and I was a little skeptical about it, having not done that before, and I just knew that it would be a little bit more fiddly and difficult to work with once getting these sleeves on, and it was. Of course, you have a lot of stitches to work with when you're doing that. So it was a little weird to do at the beginning, and I wasn't sure if I was doing it correctly. And if you've done a top or a bottom up raglan before, you'll know that you get these huge gaps on the underarms that you have to close up after, but it just feels so foreign when you're used to top down. That said, it wasn't that difficult, it was just different, and I'm really glad I finally went ahead and did it. So I only cast, well, I did this much of ribbing when I cast on for the sleeves, and then maybe like 7 rounds of stockinette, if that, before joining in for the body. I did a tubular bind off for the neck, and yeah, that's about it. It's got this beautiful eyelet detail. It is a little bit tricky here because you've got your raglan, their decreases for the bottom up. And depending on the size that you're doing, the eyelet pattern doesn't have a full like eyelet repeat, enough room there for a full repeat. So you kind of have to gauge like if you're going to do a full one and have them cut off, or just skip them entirely. So that's what I did. I skipped them, and then you've got some blank space there, which I was a little worried about, but now that it's done and I'm wearing it, I think it's okay. I don't think it's too much open space there and doesn't go well with it. I think that it's I think that it goes well. I don't think it's too bad. So I'm very, very happy to have this one done. I also felt so bad that I was part of this cowl and I didn't finish it and had gifted yarn for it. Like I said, some test knits, and then gift knitting was around the corner, and yeah, I put it down, not intending to put it down for that long, and then I didn't get back to it, so I'm really glad I did. And I love it. I've been wearing it a lot. It actually is perfect timing because spring is around the corner here. It's beautiful out today. We had a beautiful weekend. It'll be like 17 or 16 degrees today. And then it's going to get like -10 over the next few days, and we're getting a ton of snow. So I'm just loving the spring weather today, put on my spring knit, going to enjoy it, stay in the moment, and then I'll be back to wearing some winter clothing again, but that's okay because it's March and it will be short-lived. Okay, so that's first finished object, what I'm wearing. Next one, I shared these before. I just had one of them done. Now I've got both done. And these are some self-drafted socks that I made for my partner, Andrew. He has been wearing them, so they look a little worn right now, which is totally fine. I'm glad he's wearing them. The main feature of this sock is just some simple cables going all the way down the center of the sock. So this was a top down. I used my own naturally hand dyed yarn here, and then this was Brine Dye Works in the color Raleigh. And I did a slip stitch heel flap and gusset, and then your regular toe, and then just this simple cable detail down the front. So I finished these, yay! Got these done. Andrew absolutely loves them. He's been wearing them a lot, and nothing makes me happier than seeing someone I love wearing knits that I made for them. Next pair of socks, these are the Taival Socks by Sari Nordlund. I had one pair done before and I finally got the other pair done. So I had about 4 pairs of socks that were unfinished and just like laying around, and I knew I had to get all of those done. I have a lot of other socks in my mind, sock designs in my mind that I want to get on the needles, and so in order for me to feel good about doing that, I had to finish all of these socks. So these are a modified version of Sari's, and hopefully I'm saying that correctly, the Taival Socks. But what I did is I did a fingering weight yarn. Hers is called for a DK sock yarn. I did fingering weight yarn. I did a smaller cuff. Hers calls for a larger cuff that you fold over. I did a smaller one, and then I also did an afterthought heel instead of the one that was called for in the pattern, which I believe was your regular slip stitch heel flap and gusset. So this one is just like a ribbed cable, really pretty, and I used gifted yarn from Knitting Fever, and this was Queensland collection in Tenderfoot, and the color is Venetian Rose. So this yarn is actually, I believe it's 80% merino and then 20% polyamide. So there's no nylon, or not nylon, it's not superwash yarn. So it feels a little bit more rustic, but it's still really soft. And I have worn these, well, it hasn't really been cold enough, but it will be getting cold. So I'll probably wear these a bit more around the house. I kind of made these for just like house socks to have. They kind of fit more like slippers for me. I can wear them over another pair of socks and keep really warm in the winter. But I'm curious to see how this yarn will wear for socks. So I'll keep you all updated. I just want to show you, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a blue fleck there. Every now and then there's little bits of color, and I'm not sure if it's showing up properly. There's another one showing up properly on the camera, but there's just a lot of depth to this color that I really loved, and I thought some pink cabled socks would be really, really cute. So yeah, these were a fun knit. If you're newer to cables, this is a good way to start. The original pattern is also DK weight, so if you're also newer to socks and cables, they would go really fast in the DK weight version and they look super cozy, but I guess that'd be kind of more of a winter knit, and we are going into spring where I live anyway. Okay, we'll stay on the sock theme for now because we've got 2 more socks to cover and then something else. And then we'll be done with the finish. No, we've got another one that I cannot forget to talk about. Okay, next socks. Next pair of socks are self-drafted, just vanilla socks. I did a short row heel on this one and a regular toe cuffed down. Here they are. I did a pop of color at the top here and then a little stripe before starting the toe. So I finally have 2 of these. Yay. I love these so much. This is my naturally hand-dyed yarn. I call this one Toffee. This one I call Cinnamon Sprinkles. And I'm really, really pleased with how the speckling turned out. They're really nice and even. And for these, I just steamed them. Well, that doesn't, okay, what I mean is I have like a little steamer, and then I laid the yarn in there, and then I sprinkled some powdered plants over it, and that's how I got the speckle, by using powder form. And then down here is just like a regular dye path. So really, really happy to have these, because these are my first pair of fingering weight socks. Well, aside from these, but these are more like house socks, and this fingering weight is a thicker, like a heavier fingering weight. But these are my first pair of true fingering weight socks for myself. So I've knitted a lot of socks, not a lot, maybe, well, actually I have, yeah, maybe like 10 pairs of socks for other people in fingering weight, but I hadn't had any for myself, and I was really, really wanting some. And I'm looking to build up my hand knit sock cupboard. So this was my first pair to add to that. I also really am a fan of the short row heel. I just think it's a lot less fussier than the slip stitch heel flap and gusset. I hate having to work that flap and do the slip stitches. I hate doing that. I also hate having to pick up stitches and then having to do all the decreases for that. I'm just not a fan, and I really like the way that the short row heel looks. It just kind of looks like a more natural heel to me. I also really like the way they fit. So I've kind of been on a mission to try out different types of heel constructions for socks, because I wasn't liking the heel flap and gusset, and I must say I'm a big fan of the short row heel. I also do love doing an afterthought heel, because I feel like that heel takes the least amount of time, since it's just like doing the toe, and the toe can fly by, and same with the heel. It's just like such a fast way to do a heel. Okay, so those socks done. Felt so good to have those done. My next and final pair of socks to show you today is another self-drafted pattern, and using my hand-dyed as well. So here they are. If I turn them into the light, you can see there's a herringbone textured pattern on the top of the foot. I did these cuff down, and I did another short row heel. I did a row here of just stockinette before going into the pattern, and then just a regular wedge toe. So this is my naturally hand-dyed yarn again. Here's my second pair. I did this first sock a long time ago. I just picked up this sock a couple days ago. I forgot to do just one round of stockinette at the cuff, so it's a little messy there. And then I also did one less stitch on the chevron detail. So that I only realized till I got to the toe, because I was counting my stitches, and I had the same amount of like chevron or herringbone pattern repeats on each foot, but the stitch counts weren't adding up, and I was saying like, what the hell is going on? And then I finally realized I did one less stitch on the second sock. So that's okay, you can tell once they're on, but I just had to do 2 more repeats in order for the numbers to line up for the length of the foot. But it's all good. I know next time for when I make these what to do. And yeah, I wrote it down, so that's good. But I really love these colors. I'm obsessed with. This one is, I'm calling strawberry ice cream, and then this one is like rhubarb pie, I think I'm gonna call. And I love them so much. I'm really proud of how these knit up with my naturally hand-dyed yarn. I think they're beautiful and very happy to now have 2 socks added to my sock drawer. Okay, we're flying through these finished objects, I feel. There's not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to socks, I guess. Now my next one has been on my needles for, I think it was about 11 months, so almost a year, and it's quite ridiculous because it was just a hat, but it was the Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. So here it is. I finally finished it, you guys. I did a DK weight version of it. So I held a fingering and a mohair together. Here's my Musselburgh, all unraveled. I used Tin Silk Mohair by Sandnes Garn in the color 4244. And then the main color was, I used a Skinny Singles from Hedgehog Fibres, and this was the color Iris. So originally Iris is more of a purple color, but I wanted to bring out more of the pink, so that's why I added the Tin Silk Mohair. And I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. I don't know why it took me so long, honestly. I think it's just because I started this like last spring, so it wasn't the best time of year to like start a fuzzy hat. I think I had other things on my mind at the time, like some spring and summer knits. And then I just didn't pick it back up for a long time until, you know, I started to get on this momentum of finishing all of my WIPS, and then once I started it was really hard to stop. So I think I had about halfway done last time I picked this up, and then I just flew through the rest, and it was really enjoyable. Great stockinette project. Favorite hat for sure. It fits really well. I wear it folded over like this. It's super warm. You got 4 layers. I am a person that absolutely hates having extra room up here. I think it looks like when it goes like that, I just think it looks really weird. Like not so, I don't know, I'm just not a fan of that. So I really like how it fits like this, and it's super warm, perfect for where I live, perfect for winters, and perfect for windy days. To have that 4 layers over my ears is everything, especially if you're like me and have super sensitive ears. And like with wind, and you know, you get that like terrible feeling throughout your eardrum. Definitely recommend this hat. I of course plan to make more. It's my favorite hat. I definitely want to use my own hand-dyed yarn for the next one, because I was able to use just a single skein of fingering weight for this one. So I do have some, let me just grab it really quickly. I have some of this yarn that I dyed, and it's some very subtle variegated with a little bit of speckling in there. This is naturally dyed. All my yarn, by the way, that I do dye is naturally dyed, and I just think that this would look really pretty in a Musselburgh hat. So yeah, I'll probably start that in the fall or next winter. Okay, so those are all of the finished items that I have with me here. I do have another one, and I'll put up a picture here, and this was the Azucena Pullover by Claudia Quintanilla from Eweknit Toronto. There is currently a cal going on for that, so if you want to join, you can use the code. I'll put up the code here, and it'll be linked down below in the description box as well. And if you use that code, you can get 50% off the pattern. Also, you have to make a project page for this on Ravelry. You can also take a screenshot of your project page and send it to Eweknit Toronto on Ravelry, and they will send you the project for free. So this goes until May, I believe. And I did a heavily modified version of this. It's for adult sizes only. I did a little bit of math and made it for 3 to 4 year old size, and made one for my niece. So I really loved the pattern of this. I loved the little scalloped edges and the flowers. And Azucena also means lily, so those little flowers are lilies. And I just thought it would look really cute and precious on my niece. So I had to make a child's version for her. So that was really quick knit for me. I actually couldn't put it down because I was having such a great time with the color work, and then I got past the color work and I thought, oh, it's a tiny little body, so I'll just get through it. And it was maybe a 4-day project, which was great. I also have a lot of time to knit. I don't have kids. So that alone gives you so much extra time. I am unable to work at the moment and haven't been able to work for a long time, so that is, yeah, that I have a lot of knitting time. And knitting is very like healing for me and is a distractor from pain and all of that, so that's why I do a lot of it. Anyway, I did use yarn from my Nana's stash. So my last episode I did kind of like a yarn haul from my Nana's stash, and it was a really special yarn to me because she passed away around 20 years ago, and I know that she did a lot of knitting, but I don't have memories really of her knitting. And so I did get a lot of her yarn recently, and I just thought it'd be really special to knit up something for my niece in my Nana's yarn and to give to my sister, because then it's kind of like a gift from, for my sister, it's kind of like a gift from her Nana for her child via myself. And it's a really nice keepsake for her to have. So the project page for mine is linked down below, and it does have the yarn information on there if you're interested in it. It is called Penguin yarn, and it didn't have colorway names, but it was just the gray and the white, and I'm not even sure if this yarn is in production anymore. It was, I think, 80% acrylic and then 20% wool, I think, around there. And it did say it was machine washable, and that was another reason why I wanted to use this acrylic yarn for my niece, so that my sister can just quickly throw that in the wash, no problem. And I am happy to report that the sweater fits her perfectly, and it was a really great kind of like outdoor layer when we were outside the other day. She put it on and it fit her perfectly. She didn't want it off, which a lot of the times she's saying off, off, off for any sweater she puts on. So I was very pleased with that. Also, speaking of my niece, the other day, so she's 2 and just turned 2. The other day I went over, 2 days ago, I went over to visit. I see her a lot, also 4 times a week probably. And I brought my knitting bag with me, one of my knitting bags, and over the summer I was at her house almost every day. And I brought this knitting bag with me a lot, and she always saw me knitting on it. And I've shared with you all before that she likes to hold on to the cable parts of my needles when I'm knitting, and she does this and she thinks she's knitting, and it's really sweet. So I had this knitting bag up on a table and she spots it. I wasn't even knitting yet, I was just hanging out. She spots it, she runs over, reaches up onto the table, grabs it, and she goes, "Auntie's knitting, Auntie's knitting," and runs up to the couch and says, "Open, open." And so of course I had to open it up and pull it out, and then she grabbed her cables and just started knitting, and oh my god, that melted my heart. I think we've got a little knitter to be on our hands. I won't force it on her, but if she's expressing interest in knitting, I for sure am going to support that. And I really hope she's into it. I think that would be really fun. So yeah, that just always makes me so happy when she is knitting. It's so sweet. Okay, so that's it for finished objects. I really wanted to get on here and talk to you all today about the finished objects because I knew if I left it a couple more weeks that I would probably forget what I had done and what I had shown all of you, and it would just be a lot to talk about. So on to WIPS. Now, this is another WIP that I'm trying to get through. This one has been on my needles for a year now. Not okay in my mind, because I've been wanting this desperately. I know I could finish it. It's just I'm having a tough time getting the motivation to work on this, because it's a small gauge, small needles, small yarn, and it just feels like I'm not making much progress. However, I am, because I put a stitch marker up, and I think that is helping me see like the progress and giving myself more motivation. So this is the farfa-top by the Knit Purl Girl. I am using Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color Powder, and this is what I have. So the main feature of this is it's got these beautiful like bell sleeves. I think I'm gonna leave the sleeves this length. I just have to knit a bit more because it is a folded hem. And the other detail is that it has this like little opening at the back, which will soon have an applied I-cord around the neckline and some ties at the back that you can put into a bow. So last time I picked this up a couple weeks ago, I was here, and then I've worked about this much, and that was like a few days work, and then I put it away for quite some time to finish these socks and this shirt and all that, and now I'm looking to pick it back up. It's taking me forever. I'm wondering if any of you have made this top and if it also took you forever, or maybe you were just really enjoying it and flew through it. Once I get going, I do enjoy it. It's just the initial barrier of like having to pick it up. And I think what I have to do is just look at it as one step at a time, because right now I'm thinking I have to get through the body. It's a folded hem, so I have to knit past where I want, past the length of the body, then fold it under, and then, you know, knit it together. Then I have to pick up more for the sleeves, and then do the other sleeve, then the applied I-cord. I'm going through all of that in my head, which is not a good mindset to have for myself when it comes to any project I'm working on. I really feel I have to just think, okay, we're just knitting on the body. Easy, stockinette, fun, mindless, no stress there. Just think of it one step at a time. I can check off the body and then, oh, no problem. I already have most of this sleeve done. Just have to knit an inch or two or whatever it is for the folded hem. No big deal. If I go through it like that, I think I'll have more motivation to work on it. But it is coming up to spring here, so this is a perfect spring top. One thing I'm worried about though is I have heard that silk, or pure silk from Knitting for Olive grows a lot. And I'm worried that it might get pretty big because it fits perfectly right now. And yeah, I just don't know if it's gonna grow more widthwise or lengthwise, but I can probably, you know, manipulate that while blocking. But I'll probably want it to go down to where this is. So I've got quite a bit more to do. But if I really put my mind to it, I could probably get that done in a couple of weeks, and that way it'll be enjoyable and not like a rush thing. So yeah, that is the farfa-top, which I absolutely love the design. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's a lot of work. I kind of feel like this would be similar to the Cumulus tee that I haven't knit, but I think it uses pure silk as well. And I hear people say that is like kind of, it takes a long time to get through that project. And this pure silk, like, it is a very thin yarn. I am knitting this on US 3. What is that? I have no idea. I never go by the US measurements for the needles. I only go by the millimeters, so I have no idea what US 3 is. Does it say on here? Anyway, they're on US 3 needles. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous. I really do enjoy working with the pure silk. The fabric itself feels amazing. It feels like a store-bought thing. It's just absolutely luxurious in my opinion. I love it so much. And I keep dropping this ball of yarn, that's why I'm going up and down. I really want to have more neutral in my closet. Not a whole lot, just a couple of staple pieces that I can match with some, you know, with some more things. Especially because I have been sewing, and I just recently sewed some blue linen pants, and I want to bring in some other color pants, and it'd be nice to just have a nice neutral top that can go with anything. So this was actually the knitting bag that my niece grabbed the other day, and when I opened it up, she grabbed out this yarn and she goes, "Oh, pretty." So I mean, for a 2-year-old to think that this very neutral beige pretty yarn is pretty, I think we might already have a yarn lover on our hands. It's so sweet. So yeah, there's not a whole lot to talk about that project because I am just working endless stockinette on the body right now, and a lot of the shaping and all that I've already spoken about in a podcast probably about a year ago because it's been that long. So I'll just leave it at that, and I'll probably won't show it until I'm on to the sleeve again because it won't be too exciting to share any of that with you, any of the progress for the body, that is. So my next WIP, I'm trying to only keep maybe 2 active WIPs on the needles at the moment, so I don't get into the territory of having 10 WIPs on the go again. So my next one is the Tiny Shells Shawl by Sari Nordlund. It's a newer pattern she just published, and I am using Elizabeth Lavold Silky Wool. For this, it's a DK weight yarn, and the color is Seafoam, which is also 224. This was gifted yarn from Knitting Fever, and I really love the feel of this yarn because it is, let's see here, do they have it? Here it is, 45% wool, 35% silk, and 20% nylon. So it's a really soft feel, and I thought it'd be a really nice shawl. So the shawl initially calls for fingering weight. This is more of a DK weight yarn, and I just started this, was it yesterday? 2 days ago, I think, and I'm actually already starting gift knitting for Christmas. So this is going to be a it's a little tiny shawl for my boyfriend's mother for Christmas, and I plan on making a couple more tiny shawls for people this Christmas as well. So I'm just going to get this done and then keep it stashed away, and I'm really proud of myself for having started Christmas knitting. So this is it. Here's the color of the yarn. I was never a fan of this seafoam color, but I am actually falling in love with it as I'm working on this. And Sari's sample knit is actually almost in the exact same color. It's different yarn, but it's almost the exact same color. And I think that's kind of what inspired me to knit it because it looked so good in hers. So as you can see, you start here and it's got little like pearl bump rows here, and then this beautiful lace section. I've just started another section here, you can see is eyelets. That separates each section, and then I'll be starting another section of the stockinette and purl. Then after that, I do another section of the lace, and then I think I ended off with more of this. So it's a mini, smaller shawl, but I think mine will probably be bigger because I'm using DK weight. And there, I put it up against myself. You can see all of the lace detail. I'm obsessed with this. I can't stop staring at it. It is so pretty. I think it's just, I love these mini shawls, and it's a great gift knit. Because I also just picture my boyfriend's mother in this color, and I think she'll look really good in it. So it's really pretty. I love it. It looks so cute already. I think it'll be really nice. So you can wear it kind of like this, or have it around the back and then tie the fronts if you want. So yeah, I'm excited. I actually really want one of these shawls for myself now, but I probably won't do that for a while. I always need a bit of a break in between patterns if I'm making the same thing twice, which, have I even ever done that? Probably not. But I imagine that I would need a break in between knitting the same pattern twice. But I love this. I also have a bunch more of this silky wool, so I think in other colors as well, and a bunch more in this color. And I think I'm going to make yeah, all the mothers in my life I think are going to get one of these. So, and I don't know, I'm torn if I should do the same color or do different colors. And when I say one of these, I don't necessarily mean this exact same one again, but like a mini shawl. So yeah, just so I don't get bored of knitting them and have some variety, I'll do different patterns, but all kind of like the same shape / size. But this is a really, really fun knit, and I've been enjoying it so much, so I really highly recommend it, and I can't wait to take finished object photos of this, which I definitely will do. Even if they're gift knits, I'll try and take finished object photos of them just to put on my Ravelry and Instagram, and I can kind of like model them a little bit and show how I would wear it and how it drapes and all of that. So I'm really pleased with this. I hope to get this done in the next few days, kind of have that checked off my list, and what that would be the first gift knit of the year, and hopefully I can just stay on that momentum and get a lot more done. So yeah, last year I started gift knitting, I can't remember, I did a couple throughout the year, but then I left a lot of it until like November or December, and I don't want to do that. And I also had a lot of test knits last year, and I told myself I'm not going to test knit this year. I just don't feel the need for it. I felt like I really wanted to last year, so that's what I did, and I did plenty, and I don't need to do it anymore, I don't feel. So I just really want to dedicate my time to my own, executing my own designs that I have in my head and knitting on the projects that I've had queued up for a while, and then also gift knitting. So with the absence of test knitting, I have a lot more time for gift knitting, and like starting earlier will be great, because that's what I had in mind last year. I thought I'm gonna start gift knitting in February or March, and then I signed up for all of these test knits up until, and those test knits kept me busy till like the end of the year, and then I thought, oh my god, I lost all of my time for gift knitting. I didn't have any time for it. So yeah, I'm very excited and pleased that I'm not going to be doing test knitting this year. And already, since like not doing test knitting, that's why I've been able to finish all of these WIPs. And that's another reason why some of these WIPs have been like that have been a WIP for so long, is just because test knits also got in the way. So yeah, those are the farfa-top and the tiny shells shawl are my two main WIPs at the moment. I really want to cast on a sock this afternoon at some point, so I might be doing that, and then those will be my three main WIPs. But yeah, the priority is this one, just to get it done and stashed away for Christmas. And just because it's a smaller project, I just kind of want to get that done. And then I know that farfa-top, there's no rush for it. There's no rush for this either. We know December's months and months away. But just knowing that, like the farfa-top, I don't have any rush for it personally. And it's nice to work on it here and there, but it's not something I want to force. And I'm really enjoying the tiny shell shawl. I think that's what it's called. It's kind of a tongue twister. I'm really enjoying this, so I kind of just want to lean into it and work on what I'm enjoying. And when you do that, when I do that, that's when things just get done faster anyway. Not that it's a race or anything, but it is nice to see progress when you're working on things. And yeah, when I work on things that I'm really enjoying, that's when the progress really happens. So that is it for my WIPs. I do have a lot of fun socks planned that I want to knit. Really enjoying sock knitting, as I've been mentioning. I can't believe I'm a sock knitter. I never thought I would be, but I am. I've turned into a sock knitter, so I'm really enjoying that and trying to lean into that. I also want to knit quite a few socks for gifts this year, for Christmas and birthdays and all that, so hopefully I can get started with that. I am starting to think about my summer and knitting plans, and like I said, I have some more of this silky wool. I think I want to do an Ingrid-summer-sweater in, and thinking that could change, but that's a possibility. I have color the color navy blue, which I think could look really pretty. I also have some of Elizabeth Lavold's Hempathy yarn, which is like a hemp and linen and cotton blend, I believe. And I want to make, I forget what it's called, but I'll put the pattern up here. I want to make that top because I've got 3 colors that I think look really good together and would look amazing in the feather and fan. I believe it's a feather and fan if I remember correctly. But anyways, in the wavy pattern. And yeah, so those are 2 items that I'm kind of have on my radar right now. And then yeah, just a ton of socks. I want to do some more mini shawls, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'm having a blast doing it all. I'm really enjoying knitting lately, and yeah, it's just such a comforting thing for me right now. It always has been, but especially right now, it's just been feeling really, really nice. I have been doing quite a bit of sewing as well, and I do have 2 finished sewing items that I could share, but I have a lot more to talk about sewing wise, so I think I'm going to save that for another video that will be solely dedicated to sewing. In case you're a knitter and not into sewing, you don't have to watch that, and then all of the sewists can check that one out if they like. But I'm excited to share that because I'm very proud of my latest 2 items that I've sewn, and I'm going to be starting my 3rd one soon, and it will be kind of like a matching piece, a matching top and skirt that I can wear together or separately, so I'm very excited to start that. And yeah, sewing is always just kind of fun to do in spring and summer for myself anyway. I like to sew with cotton and linens and those lighter fabrics, so it always feels very appropriate to start doing that when the weather starts to get warmer. So I think that's all I have to share with you all today. Thank you so much for watching, and especially if you stuck around till the end, thank you very much. If you liked it, I would really love it if you considered giving this video a like or a comment, or subscribe if you haven't already. It goes a long way and helps my channel out a lot. All right, thank you all so much, and I will see you later.